Ladies and gentlemen, what you are about to hear is not a drill. Remy Ma didn't just lose her temper in court. She went down, and 50 Cent was the one who brought her crashing to the ground with only 2 words. You heard right. One of the witnesses was the artist himself, for Remy Ma's own son's murder trial, not for a show or a fight. And he released more than just testimony. Her entire defense plan was ruined. Why were 50 people in that courtroom? What had he observed? And how in the world did his comments cause Remy's legal team to go into such chaos in only a few seconds? Do you think you've seen any drama involving law and order? Please. This was reality TV meets criminal court, with a dash of betrayal, lies, and a secret no one was allowed to know. Remy thought she knew the system, but as soon as 50 Cent began, the courtroom turned into a battleground and only one story survived. Be careful, for what he uttered might be Remy Ma's last words. Gentlemen and ladies, you were worried that you might look messy. No, because of what happened in that New York courtroom, the word scandal has been formally redefined. This falling circus revolves around Remy Ma, the rap queen who became a judicial disaster, with 50 Cent surprisingly playing the role of executioner. A case that started it all was already causing the streets to hum. The horrible death of Remy's 14-year-old son, which has not been explained. A case cloaked in mystery, rage, and silent stress. But no one saw this coming. No one could have predicted that the trial would become so explosive that it would leave the judge, supporters, and detractors completely in disbelief. Remy walked into the courtroom that morning as if she owned the space. Black sunglasses, a cold stare, and the same Bronx don't play attitude we've seen 100 times before. But she didn't expect 50 Cent to be the surprise wild-card witness and the prosecution's secret weapon. Indeed, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson is an actor, businessman, beef lover, and now a key witness in a murder trial that might decide whether Remy Ma receives a life sentence. However, what if we traveled back in time? The trial was controversial from the start. Remy's son was found shot behind a Staten Island warehouse, sparking rumors of gang links, rap industry retaliation, and a botched cover-up. The first story, intermittent violence on the streets. There was much more going on though, according to the real insiders. Leaked texts between Remy and a prominent gang middleman contain some disturbing code language. Handle it before it spreads. Remy's crew termed it out of context, of course, but the cryptic words showed that he knew too much. But that did not persuade the prosecution in the least. Things start to become heated at this point. Reminiscent of a Netflix legal drama, the DA's office sprung a surprise halfway through the trial. A subpoena had been issued to someone who had first-hand knowledge of the events leading up to the murder. A witness said that Remy confided in him at a private meeting in Tribeca a few weeks before the murder, and the individual who was served with the subpoena, 50 Cent. At first, everyone laughed. A rapper who gave a statement. Act quickly. But that changed when 50 showed up in a charcoal gray suit and smiled like he knew he was going to blow up the internet. The courtroom transformed from skepticism to pure suspense. As soon as 50 took the stand, you could hear a pin drop. Not even the bailiff breathed. The lawyers for Remy looked frightened. Her spouse, Papoose, sat only 2 seats behind her, looking as if he had just seen a ghost. Remy didn't blink once either. The prosecution made a single, direct question. Did Remy Ma ever discuss her concerns that her kid would know about her personal business affairs with you, Mr. Jackson? 50 paused, then leaned into the microphone and said the 2 words that were supposed to have sent Remy's soul flying out of the building. She did, indeed, just those 2 words. Nothing fancy or very detailed, just a simple affirmation. And it hit like a grenade. Remy's lawyer immediately objected, shouting about hearsay and pertinence. The courtroom trembled. Reporters fumbled for their phones. Twitter became popular. One witness said that despite her trembling hands, Remy whispered, "He's lying. You see, if 50 is telling the truth that Remy confided in him because her son was a liability, then this isn't just a case of emotional parenting. It's premeditation, motive, and intent." To make matters worse, Remy and 50 aren't just rap acquaintances. They have a history, a real tangled, revenge-fueled history. Some claim that 50 is merely there to stir things up, while others say he's telling the truth and doesn't care about the consequences. Bill Vibe, who is associated with gossip, claims that Remy allegedly wrote in a private text message, "I gave him everything. If he speaks, it's over for us all, every one of us." Remy, who are we? The internet went into overdrive, and conspiracy theorists started asking, did Papoose have a role? Was this connected to past disputes in the industry? Was there a bigger person Remy was defending? Meanwhile, the courthouse turned into a set for a reality show, with a new twist every day. One day, it was an anonymous tip, followed by security footage of Remy's SUV parked near the warehouse at 3 in the morning. The murderous night. Her legal team failed to mention this in her initial alibi, and you know who provided that video. The public's reaction, however, should not be overlooked. On the day that 50 testified, social media collapsed. Within minutes, she trended worldwide, according to hashtags like #RemyOwn and #50. Rap blogs had a great time. Jasmine Dior, the victim's girlfriend's mother and a furious wild card in this already chaotic circus, appeared just when everyone thought things couldn't get much messier. Wendy Williams even came out of hiding to tweet, "Remy, girl, you're in trouble." Remy's admirers were divided when she appeared outside the courthouse with a sign that read, "50 told the truth." Outside the courtroom, several people screamed, "Free Remy, the Bronx knows." Celebrities even voiced their opinions, urging her to be truthful, adding, "We wrote for you. We haven't even reached the most significant twist yet, people." Because just as the court adjourned for the day, Remy Ma did something unexpected. Just as everyone thought the worst was over, she got up, turned to face Papoose, and said something really eerie in a whisper. Cardi B said live, "This whole thing feels shady." Remy's longtime friend Fat Joe, on the other hand, shared a mysterious prayer emoji without a caption. What does this mean for Remy's case then? Legal experts say that even though 50's testimony is brief, it could prove disastrous if the doll links it to those threatening texts and the video. But what did she say? Let's pick up where we left off. Red-eyed and shaken from the 50-cent courtroom ambush, Remy Ma turned slowly to Papoose and whispered something cold and spine-tingling. According to reports, even the stenographer stopped typing. What did she say? "You said he'd never talk." Boom. According to a courtroom insider, a legal aide was sitting 3 feet away. She confirmed in a single statement what the prosecution had only hinted at, that she and Papoose had a deeper, secret understanding. And that 50's testimony was not only shocking but also betrayed her. Let's talk about strategy. Remy's defense team was scuttling around like pigeons in a thunderstorm, and her attorneys almost pleaded with the judge to have 50's statement removed from the record as soon as he left the stand by requesting an emergency. Sidebar: this court will not reject Mr. Jackson's testimony on procedural grounds that is supported by additional evidence. Translation: Remy, you're done. Meanwhile, chaos was raging outside the courthouse, with protesters fighting, some yelling for justice, and others standing by Remy. The back of her Escalade was spray-painted with the words "Guilty Ma." Even worse, Papoose didn't accompany her home that evening. Yes, she left in a different vehicle. Just silence, no hand-holding, no eye contact. Since anonymous sources you know, the ones who usually send direct messages when things go shady, came forward with something that sparked the internet. Let's get started. A covert recording allegedly made inside Remy and Papoose home by a cleaner a few days after the video shows muted people arguing over the killing of their child. The woman, who is allegedly Remy, responds, "I told him to stay out of it. You said you'd handle it clean." The male voice adds, "But he did this to himself. It's chilling right now." Remy's public relations team clearly rushed to claim that the tape was a fake audio engineering job in an attempt to change public opinion, but the court did not reject it. Instead, They asked for a thorough forensic investigation. This is where things get dangerously messy. The prosecution released even more incriminating information while the jury was away for the weekend. Remy's financial records show that hundreds of thousands of dollars were transferred between offshore accounts and shell corporations just weeks before her son was murdered. The wild card is Dior's Jasmine. Yes, she's back. This time, she's got a vengeance. She showed up in court wearing a blood-red trench coat. Some called them silencing costs, while others called them a security retainer. Where did these companies have their headquarters? The Bahamas, the Cayman Islands, and even one linked to a management company that was shut down and controlled by 50 Cent's rival. Talk about the drama of full circle. TV legal commentators went crazy, calling it the most reckless paper trail in the history of celebrity crimes. One commenter said, "It's like she wanted to get caught." Let that reverberate for a moment. It appeared to be a diary. It stated that Remy's son owned it. The words, "If anything happens to me, don't trust her." Of course, Remy's team now insists that it is a phony, a cunning scheme to weaken the case. The worst part is that, despite this, the prosecution filed it because, as his school and therapist have confirmed, the handwriting matches earlier notes her son had written. Let's do the math then. 50 Cent's testimony, financial traces to hidden accounts, audio evidence from her home, and now the victim's own journal confession. A sealed letter from Papoose is then unexpectedly revealed to the media. An anonymous delivery of handwritten and steady ink to a journalist in the Bronx. His crew is flooded with reporters who want to know why. There was total radio silence, no comments, no social media posts. When Papoose wrote, "I tried to protect my family," the internet went into a complete meltdown. "I never imagined it would get this bad. We both fall if she does." The world is now curious as to whether Papoose is flipping. Does he intend to testify? Is he going to be the next shocking witness? It appears that nothing sells more successfully than a breakdown. In one TikTok that went viral, fans replicated trial situations with voiceovers, artificial tears, and trap beats. Meanwhile, Remy's earlier songs witnessed a 300% surge in Spotify streams. The hammer fell after that. The prosecution's closing tactics included Remy Ma's connection to an underground network of elite criminals known as fixers, who help clean up the mess left by the wealthy and well-known. The man allegedly deleted the warehouse footage and threw away her son's phone, the same person who handled cleaning for a 2019 assault case involving another well-known rapper. Yes, it's no longer just about Remy. Courts are prepared to rip through the entire labyrinth of payoffs, secrets, and silence. Judge Martinez was obviously upset by this point. If even half of this is true, she's going to be leaving for good. But guess what? Just when everyone thinks the trial is at its peak, another witness appears. And it's the same person Remy used to trust with her life. Who is she? What were they saying? And why did the courtroom blow up into chaos when the bailiff cried for order? I assume you remember where we left off. Another mystery witness enters the courtroom just when you thought this trial couldn't get much stranger. No, this was Tasha Denaro, a longtime family friend, a former assistant, and the person Remy once called ride or die. But guess what? The loyalty seems to have ended along with the journey put aside. Tasha came in with one sheet of paper in her hand, all in black and makeup-free. She didn't sit. She didn't flinch, she read. But that boy's fate wasn't random. It wasn't arbitrary. It was prearranged. Take a breath. The court reporter even let her pen slip. Tasha claims that Papoose was at a private meeting that Remy had set up 2 weeks before the murder. The line that rocked the room was when she described how her son was going through her drawers, looking through documents, and asking questions that could ruin careers. Papoose didn't stop her from saying, "I might lose everything if he keeps talking." Remy Ma finally broke down in tears in court after hearing just one sentence. No cameras allowed, shoulders shaking, genuine tears, but someone within it now has 2 in that 15-second clip. 3 million views on TikTok with the hashtag Remy breaks. Meanwhile, outside the courtroom, there was complete chaos. Supporters turned into demonstrators, vloggers turned into protesters, and conspiracy theorists started using threads on Instagram stories to create actual crime boards. The next thing you know, Bianca will testify. To be honest, it's not impossible. Right now, let's talk about the consequences. According to legal experts, Remy Ma's case is now on the verge of collapse. After Tasha's testimony, her team tried to declare a mistrial on the grounds of unsubstantiated rumors and character assassination, but Judge Martinez would not have it. Instead, he reprimanded her attorney, saying, "Ms. DeNaro's testimony isn't rumor if it fits the financial records and date. The conviction is justified." Translation: don't forget your toothbrush. Then the plot took a different turn. Who finally makes it back to court? Papoose sat down in the witness box, wearing a brand new suit and devoid of any jewelry or marital rings, and looked straight ahead without ever looking at Remy. The court said nothing. The magistrate nodded his head. "Mr. Mackey, did you attend the private meeting described earlier?" A long silence. Papoose blinked twice and then nodded. "Keep quiet." Was Remy concerned about what her kid had done? Another nod. Did she mention that her career will be at risk because of his actions? Papoose said, "Yes." Remy Ma looked like she had been hit by a truck. "Stop crying." The prosecution rested their case after Papoose's testimony, saying, "There will be no more unexpected witnesses or evidence drops, just a cool, certain departure." The defense hurried, tried to bring in character witnesses, brought in a friend from Remy's youth who claimed to adore her child, and even tried to portray her as a victim of pressure and celebrity. But let's face it, the damage was done, and the jury was now presented with a 50-cent bombshell. This was blatant betrayal and horror. She used to worry about keeping him down, but now she watches him throw her under the legal bus without even blinking. Did testify, a hidden recording that was incriminating, cryptic communications and surveillance that were leaked, a warning from a deceased boy's diary, and testimonies from her own husband and a trusted helper. It was no longer merely a case. The verdict and legacy were crushed. Let's talk about that. First, however, fallout. The public became utterly divided. Some supporters of the Free Remy movement claimed that she was being set up by the industry, framed and targeted by individuals like 50 who didn't enjoy seeing a strong woman succeed. Others, however, felt deceived and betrayed. Because they could no longer distinguish the blood from the bars, some even demanded that her song be removed from streaming services. In the meantime, her beauty brand, Remy Luxe, has stopped all shipments. While it awaits legal scrutiny, and record labels are quietly severing relations. After booking her for a tribute show in the past, BT deleted all of her promotional materials and made an ambiguous comment about reevaluating. Prosecutors aren't stopping with her, and even Joe Budden, who doesn't typically take sides, went live and said, "Man, if this is true, that ain't the Remy I knew. The commitments were based on public safety and brand values. That's another matter. That's evil." There are now rumors that Papoose would receive immunity in exchange for his full cooperation in a larger investigation that allegedly involves witness intimidation, money laundering, and possibly more related fatalities. Yes, exactly. Remy's situation could be the start of something much more sinister. This brings us to the final scene in the courtroom. After 2 exhausting weeks of testimony, evidence leaks, and public outcry, the jury returned with its verdict, and Remy Ma stood mute, pale, and expressionless. The court clerk read the charges, and we located the defendant on the charge of conspiracy to commit murder. Cut to black because it's the most. We're going to leave you all on a cliffhanger for the time being, so we're going to hand it over to you, the people. Did justice get done? Did 50 Cent make the right decision, or was this just another outrageous Queens vs. Bronx hip-hop chess move? Is Remy's mother seeking solitude, or is she a genius hidden behind poetry and the glitz of fame? We also want to know where you stand right now, so please leave your thoughts in the comments section below. We're reading all of your comments, so don't stop there either. As you already know, this isn't the end, so please like, share, and subscribe. We're digging deeply into the future, Let's just say that the industry will never be the same after the next video, so make sure your notifications are turned on. In the meantime, stay vigilant, get your screenshots ready, and never forget that two words can put an end to everything in the realms of murder, loyalty, and celebrity. Oh, you thought Remy was the end? Rethink your thoughts. According to leaked emails, this case was linked to even more significant figures in the industry.